It doesn't matter if you're buying new, used, or even leasing a car, everything I'm about to show you in this video will work regardless. In fact, I have used the exact same strategies to get 20% off of my last car. What's up, winners? My name is Nam, so if you're new here, welcome. Here we talk all things personal finance. Start now by subscribing so you don't miss out on any future videos. So let's get right into it. The first thing you guys have to do is pretty obvious. Research. You want to spend at least 80% of your time researching the car that you want prior to even contacting a car salesman. A great place to start is from today's sponsor, which is findthebestcarprice.com. This is a great website where you can find guides on how to buy a car, get a great price on a car lease, and how to get the most for your trade-in. This website also gets updated on the regular, so if you're in the market for a new car, head over to findthebestcarprice.com. Link is in the description. So after checking out today's sponsor, some other great sources to research is Edmunds and TrueCar. The use of any type of website is never going to be 100% accurate, but it will give you a good ballpark to start your negotiation process. But what exactly do I research? The process of how I research is by starting off at looking at one or maybe even two cars. But the more specific you can be, the better off you will be. So in this video, we're just going to use the BMW 3 Series as an example. So for this particular type of BMW, there are a bunch of different type of trims. There's the regular 330i, also the 330i X Drive, there's also the M versions, and there's also the electronic versions. Sometimes this could be the wheels, the body styling, the technology of what's in the car, so it could be a bunch of different type of things to factor in. This will give you a much better idea of pricing to expect. So now you have an idea of what kind of car that you want. The best piece of advice that I can give you while researching a car is to compare the price of what others are getting. I can't stress this enough because this will give you the best idea of how much you should pay. When car dealerships buy cars, it's going to be hard for you as a customer to know what's the invoice price. The only way around this is to directly ask the car salesman what is the invoice pricing on this car. Many will not tell you this number and some may even play dumb. But the ones that are willing to give you this number, more likely than not, they're going to be more legitimate and upfront with you to try to give you the best deal. Because this is a business, both parties want to be happy. But you just don't want to get ripped off while making the other guy happy. That's the whole point of this video. So if you head over to TrueCar.com, you can see what others are paying according to your zip code. So we are looking for a 2021 BMW 330i. So around my area, people are generally paying around 7 to 10% off of MSRP. So this is the goal that you should shoot for. But just keep in mind that even though this is your goal, you should never say what is your exact budget and your exact numbers that you're happy with. This is what the car salesman will use as their anchor. So if this car costs around $42,000, $43,000, you should try to shoot for, I say, 10 to 13% off. Even though this is somewhat of a lowball offer, but it does set the tone for the conversation. This offer is not too low where people will just brush you off, but it is low enough for the car dealerships to be willing to work with you. The thing with negotiation is that if you're going too low, it could be disrespectful and nobody's gonna take you seriously. So that's why it's so important to do your research. When I got my 2018 Acura RDX, I was able to negotiate roughly around 20% off of MSRP. But this definitely does take a lot of research and knowing the vehicle to know how much to ask off. Generally with American cars, you can get a higher percentage off of MSRP compared to Japanese cars like Hondas or Toyotas. This is just how their business models are. They make it seem like they're incentivizing you so much that you're getting such a big discount, so you're more likely to buy the car. But this will only work if you don't know what's the actual market price of the vehicle. Probably everybody who's buying these cars are getting the same discount. So that's why in this particular situation, for a BMW that costs around $42,000, on average people are getting around 7% off. So aiming for 10 to 13% off is a pretty good start. Now that you have a rough number that you should aim for, the next thing you want to look at is different type of manufacturer rebates or discounts that you may be entitled to. The best place to start is the manufacturer's website. So at the making of this video, if you're in the market for a new BMW, you can receive up to $3,500 of credit off of the MSRP. But the only way to get this credit is if you finance through BMW Financial. You can get $2,500 off MSRP if you use their financing and $1,000 for loyalty or conquest certificate towards your purchase. So to qualify for loyalty or conquest, you already gotta have a BMW or have another car that's from a competing brand. Another thing to also research is if there's any military, new grad, or membership discounts. Even Costco members can get discounts. So while researching for this BMW, military members can get $2,500 of bonus cash. The thing about a lot of these rebates is that you would have to get financing through the financial department. Because for these rebates, dealerships, they usually know about them and they may ask about them early on so they could just tag them on. So it just seems like they're giving such a great deal already. The next step that you want to do is to locate all the BMW dealerships or whatever dealership that you're looking for within a 150-mile radius. Me personally, I feel like the best way to negotiate is by never going to the dealership first. So once you located a bunch of dealerships that are near you, now this is going to be the time-consuming part. This is where you scroll through the inventory to see if they have the vehicle that you're looking for. So just make sure they have the right color, the model, and pretty much everything that you want in the car. As a reminder, the more add-ons and packages a car has, the more expensive it will be. So once you find a bunch of cars that you're looking for from that car dealership, keep track of all the VIN numbers and the stock numbers, because this will be the only way that a car dealership will be able to identify whether or not they have the car available. So once you narrow in of what car that you want, now it's time to start a negotiation process. The best time to get cars is towards the end of the year and also towards the end of the month. So after making this video, so whenever you watch this, try to negotiate within the last week of any given month. This will give you much better odds and a much better deal compared to early in the month. Before we make any contact with these dealerships, just have some throwaway emails and phone numbers ready. It is very easy to make a new email, and you can just download Google Voice and just make a phone number. Because once you provide this information, you're gonna be blown up on a daily basis, and it's just plain annoying. Having direct access to car dealerships with just your email just makes negotiations so much easier. It allows you to have more time to think and to plan of what you're gonna say next. Of course, when you're doing stuff online, there's gonna be limits of what you can do. They may not be able to pull your financial history to see what financing that you will be able to get. But that's the last thing you gotta do anyways, so that shouldn't matter too much in the beginning. But you should have an idea of what your credit would be like. If you have excellent credit, meaning that your credit score is higher than 720 or 740, most likely you'll get the best rate whether you're buying or leasing. If you do have good or subprime credit, you can still get a car at a great deal, but the thing that can ruin your deal is the interest rate during the financing. So moving on to the email. Personally, I prefer negotiating over email just due to the fact that I really don't like to talk to anyone over the phone. Wherever you have researched your vehicle, each dealership will have an internet sales manager. This is the person that you want to email just due to the fact that you will get a much quicker response. So before you start email blasting a bunch of car dealerships, just have a price and your terms in mind. I'm pretty sure by now you do have an idea of what you should expect to pay. On the first round of emails, this is what I usually say. Hi, internet sales manager. I'm currently in the market for a BMW 330i. I'm currently contacting 7 other car dealerships in the area just to see who can offer the best price. This is the car that I'm interested in, stock number XYZ. I'm willing to buy or lease this car today if I'm able to find a seller with the best price. Thank you, Nam. Once you hear a response back, it may go 2 ways. They may answer your request and just give you the numbers, or they will just ask you to come in. It's really up to you if you'd rather to negotiate in person, because in person you can test drive the car and learn more about the ins and outs. But I would not recommend to buy a car the same day that you test drive it. I try to avoid stepping foot on their home turf as much as possible because they have the home field advantage. If they avoid to give you numbers, continue to be persistent, say that you are extremely busy and you don't want to waste their time or yours. So after that email blast, by now you should have a handful of responses. Another reminder is that whenever you are buying a car, focus on the sale price of the car rather than the monthly payments. Because with any type of car deal, if you're just looking at the monthly payments, it is so very easy to tweak the financial numbers to make it in your favor. The thing with car negotiations is that there are usually levels to this. First, you want to focus on the price of the car, and then once you agreed upon the price, this is where you can invest more time to go into the dealership to review the contract. The second part of the negotiation is to remove any type of crap fees. So on the contract, we'll show all of the type of fees that will be included for the final out the door price. So here are some real fees: the documentation fee, DMV fee, and taxes. But here are some fees that you should never pay a dealership. Abnormally high documentation fees. So where I live in Southern California, the documentation fee, the limit is $80. So here on the screen, you will see an average documentation fee for each state. I'll also post the link in the description below. So if there are no caps in your state, you would definitely want to reduce it. If a dealership adds a dealer fee, this could be worded as dealer prep or even shipping fees. This is something you should definitely take off your contract because this is not legitimate. Another thing that you might see is advertising fees. Sometimes dealerships, they plug in an advertisement fee because they had to put this on their website or mail out newsletters, but this is a bunch of BS, so you can take this off as well. So whenever you are reviewing a contract, generally any fee that is taxed is removable. Another thing that I should mention is that anything that a dealer added onto the car could be removed or negotiated. This could include mud flaps, upgraded wheels, or those little door handle protection things. If they say they can't, that's a lie. Handle protection is literally pieces of plastic that you can get for $10. Don't pay $200 for that. Here are some key things to think about during the negotiating process. Patience is definitely a great virtue, especially when it comes down to negotiating. Car dealerships and salesmen, they definitely do this every day in and day out, so they know how the game is played. But if you're just a normal person just like myself, you're just a person who just wants to buy a car at a fair price and just be happy with your car purchase. One of the best negotiating practices that you can use is your feet. Don't be afraid to walk away. Not always, but some salesmen, they may use the old bait and switch tactic on you. They get you all happy about your potential car, and when you show up, the car is sold. So in that case, just walk away because they already wasted your time. Sometimes I just hate the whole process of car buying itself because there's so many different types of variables. Another thing to remember is to be kind and courteous. This goes a long way. A tactic that's a little unorthodox, but it may work, is by gifting the car salesman with something. This can be either a donut or a cookie. When you really think about it, when someone gives you something, it's really that much harder to screw them over. Dealerships, they do this all the time. They offer you water, coffee, and any other refreshments. This is not random acts of kindness. This is on purpose. Since you have done most of the negotiation online, it's really up to you if you want to squeeze more out of them. The next step of the car buying process is going to the financial manager or the person in the back room. This is like Bowser in Super Mario. This is the head honcho. And this is where a lot of people get screwed over because they start tagging on a bunch of useless items that the majority of people never use. Some of these items can be extended warranties, paint protection, and a bunch of useless items that you probably forget about. They sell these for a reason. They make money. Whenever you do research online, you will hear stories of people getting some value from these upsells, and I'm pretty sure it does happen, but it is rare for most people to actually use them. It's like going onto Instagram and seeing how everybody is so perfect and beautiful. But the harsh reality is that when you go anywhere in public, the majority of people don't look like that. Maybe I'm going to the wrong places. It's the same that goes with these upsells. It's rare. During this time, they may ask you how long you intend to keep this car. This is just a method for them to figure out what to sell you. Whatever you tell them, just refuse it. So now let's talk about the trade-in, because I know a lot of people will ask this question. Depending on your situation, trade-ins can be handled in a different type of ways. Let's just start off to say that you owe the car outright and you just want to trade in the car to get the equity and apply it to the new vehicle. This will be the simplest route. Just due to the fact that when you do trade in the vehicle, this reduces your sales tax that you would have to pay on the new or used car at the dealership. Similar to researching the car that you wanted to buy, you have to research the value of your car when you trade it in. A good place to start is Kelley Blue Book, just to see what they estimate as your trade-in value. But just keep in mind that this is not always 100% accurate. Car dealerships, they will usually try to lowball you on the condition of the car and the value of your car. Because most likely car dealerships, they will now renew the car and put it on their lot. They typically just send this to car auctions. But now let's just say that you have a car with an active loan, but you have positive equity. You would trade this car exactly the same way if you own the car outright. But now let's just say that you have a car, but you still have an active loan, but you're upside down. This is really gonna be not that much different, but you really want to get as much money as you possibly can. Because that difference can be applied to your new loan, or you would just have to pay it off on your own. So if you are thinking about trading in your car, you really need to get it at a fair price. This is usually a part of the negotiating process where people lose sight of. The next option you can do is to try to sell this vehicle to a private party. This will give you the most amount of money for your trade-in. If you are a person who really doesn't have the time or doesn't really like to meet up with others negotiating the price, you can always sell it to online retailers such as Carvana, Shift, or Vroom. These dealerships, they tend to give you some of the highest payouts when you're selling your cars to them. Plus, they pick it up from you. Now let's just say that you have an active lease. The best way to get rid of it is just to sell it. Ending your contract early costs a lot. You can definitely swap your lease, but it does take time to ensure that the buyer has a good enough credit score to take over your lease. If you want to end your lease early, make sure you check out this video up here. Before I go, if car negotiating is way too much of a hassle for you, then I suggest just hiring a car broker. Typically, brokers are usually ex-car salesmen themselves, so they know how to play the game. If you were gonna go this route, just ask the car broker how they make their money. You want a car broker who just makes a flat rate for their service. This can cost anywhere from $300 to $500, but they can possibly save you more money than doing it yourself. If they get a commission from the dealership, I see this as unethical just due to the fact that they have a greater incentive selling you a car at a higher price. If you guys haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram because I post there every day. If you're in the market for a car, make sure you check out my sponsor in the description below. And if you want to hang out with me some more, I'll see you guys in my next videos.